Hello everyone, the Army of Light Earth Division, the boots on the ground. It's Shawna L. Francis and today is December 10th, 2024. Welcome everybody. It is episode 20 of Decoding the Living Word. We are talking about the Bible. 5 months of this. The Order of Melchizedek wrote most of Genesis and they've written Revelation, and they are taking this opportunity to walk through each of these chapters and talk about the symbolism, the meaning in the context of the negative reptilian regime and the ascension that humanity and Mother Earth is going through right now. If you're new to this channel, welcome. Just for context, 5 months in, 20 episodes of Decoding the Living Word. Queen Elizabeth, that channeling lasted 44 sessions. I think the daily ascension updates that I did with the Galactic Federation of Light and Melchizedek, that was like 140 episodes. And of course I did 100 days straight with the Galactic Federation of Light back in the day. So anyway, I guess it's not that much, but it seems like, a sizable amount of information here, 20 episodes. Last time we talked about chapter 13 in Revelation, the mark of the beast, 666. Melchizedek explained what that meant. And now we're talking about chapter 14. Chapter 14, it's talking about the 144,000 again, the Lamb. It's talking about the harvest of humanity. All right, so we're going to get into that symbolism. How are all of you doing? It has been a windy few days here in Mexico. Definitely winter is upon the Baja Peninsula. I am coming home next week. I'll be home for the holidays and looking forward to that. I've been here 2 months and I think that's about plenty. So I'll go back home and we'll see what the next adventure will be. All right, guys, I hope everybody's doing amazing. Thanks so much for being here. Okay, so I want to just read the very first part of this sentence and then we'll get into the channeling with Melchizedek. And we did this over a couple of days. It went much more smoothly. I've got quite a bit more to go through, a lot more content than the last couple of times we've met. Chapter 14 of Revelation. Then I looked, and lo, on Mount Zion stood the Lamb, and with him 144,000. Okay. I'm going to read more a little bit later in context with the channeling. All right. Here is Melchizedek. The 144,000, the Lamb, powerful symbols in the ascension process. All who believe that they are part of this 144,000, in fact, are. As we've said previously, the number is not exact. It is symbolic of the flock of souls who, with the most tenacity and dedication, peer into fear and stare it down, at least on some level. Okay, 144,000, we've heard this number. Many people claim to be a part of it. Melchizedek is saying, if you believe you're part of this group, then you are. Indeed, you are. All right, and they're going to keep talking about this. They say here, you may incarnate here on earth into a human body and forget most of who and what you are, but the soul knows. The soul remembers. Imagine yourselves, each and every one of you, absolutely fearless in the face of adversity, standing alongside the Lamb, which represents the greatest travesty that could befall a planet, and the overcoming of that travesty into love. The Lamb, humanity's heart, humanity's graciousness, humanity's innocence, once slain, now standing tall and able to look at its deceiver with grace. All right. He who mourns the Lamb mourns all of humanity. He who mourns humanity doesn't understand the resiliency of the power of love. Let humanity rise from these ashes awakened, energized, fearless, and in wonder. Those who know themselves to be of the 144,000, hear our words now. Behold, the great wrath has ended. The Lamb may be redeemed. The tyranny is over, and humanity may now be returned to the bosom of God. Let it be so. Okay, and they continue here. Chapter 14, verse 12. Here is a call for the endurance of the saints, those who keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. Endurance, an interesting word, they said. What are you enduring exactly? We would like to explain this further. Endurance, to endure. The act of maintaining a persistent and consistent stance, even when extenuating circumstances make it challenging or difficult. To each and every one of you, the 144,000, just by your presence on Mother Earth at this plane of existence is you taking a stand. Just by you being here, you are taking a stand. It is you declaring a stance. You do this by your presence of being, you knowing who and what you are in truth, and with your unconditional expression of love. They said here, let the details be what they may. These are the pillars. This is the foundation, the harvest. Okay. All right. What does it mean to endure? It means that we are taking a stance and maintaining that stance even in the face of adversity, even when extenuating circumstances make it difficult to do so. Okay. The 144,000. If you believe that you are part of this group, you are. You are. And the Lamb, representing really the subjugation by the reptilian regime, the negative reptilian order. The Lamb here, that's what this is talking about. Melchizedek has talked about that before too. All right, and then they go on here. Chapter 14, verse 14. Then I looked, and lo, a white cloud, and seated on the cloud, one like a son of man, with a golden crown on his head, and a sharp sickle in his hand. And another angel came out of the temple, calling with a loud voice to him who sat upon the cloud. Put in your sickle and reap, for the hour to reap has come, for the harvest of the earth is fully ripe. So he sat upon the cloud, swung his sickle at the earth, and the earth was reaped. Excuse me. Here's Melchizedek. The harvest is a metaphor for those who participate in the raising of consciousness at the soul blueprint level. Dear ones, please do not fret, wondering whether or not you will be part of this harvest. There will be plenty of room for all who wish to seed the new earth at the fifth dimensional density. We ask that you do not focus on this harvest, but focus on the now, this particular moment. Are you becoming the beacon that you've set out to be? Are you the living embodiment of 5D consciousness? At least, are you striving for this? For those on the path of ascension, there is ample opportunity to evolve and develop. You don't have to have it all figured out in this one lifetime. In fact, letting go of worry and fear of whether or not you will, quote unquote, make the cut will make your path to ascension much easier. Know yourselves as God, they said. Know yourselves as Christ consciousness. Remember who and what you are and why you are here. You are getting to experience yourselves transforming before your very eyes in real time, evolving, growing, learning, remembering the light. And dear friends, marvel at the magic of these times. Revel in your soul's ability to endure this path over many, many lifetimes, supporting you each and every step. All right. There's more, but we'll pause real quick. They've talked recently about this idea that many of us, let's just call it the 144,000, although that is not an exact number. That is just a representative number. The 144,000 reincarnating over and over and over again. And each time we come back to the planet, we are evolved more and more and more. So imagine that we come back as singularities, but truly we are part of this bigger unity consciousness, this Christ consciousness, this collective consciousness that we create together, coming back over and over again. So this continuum over space and time, maybe through space and time. Time is an illusion here that we employ just for our purposes here on Earth. But imagine that we continue to incarnate here, many lifetimes it's going to take. And they talked about the next 1,000 years until we are fully through this ascension process, that you may come back many, many times between now and then to help with this ascension in your own time, in your own way. So they're just, again, reiterating this. You've got lots of time to evolve, lots of time to get things figured out. And if you want to be a part of this 144,000, it is so, they said. This is a reality. Okay. And they continue. Endurance will be what catapults humanity to the next level. Yeah, imagine many lifetimes. And I know we get down here and we think we can't stand it, we're not ever coming back, but then we pass over. And on the other side, my understanding is we clamor to come back down here. This work is really meaningful to our souls. It's part of our soul blueprint to come and to raise consciousness here and help with this ascension. They said here, this is a marathon and not a sprint. 200,000 years of subjugation. It's going to take some time and effort to recreate this experience in the upper octaves, meaning the 5D, upper room, upper octaves, higher dimensionality. All right. And they continue with verse 17. And another angel came out of the temple in heaven, and he too had a sharp sickle. Then another angel came out from the altar, the angel who had the power over fire, and he called with a loud voice to him with the sharp sickle. Put in your sickle and gather the clusters of the vine of the earth, for its grapes are ripe. So the angel swung his sickle along the earth and gathered the vintage of the earth and threw it into the great winepress of the wrath of God. And the winepress was trodden outside the city, and blood flowed from the winepress as high as a horse's bridle for 1,600 stadia. And the footnote to that said that's about 200 miles. All right. And here's Melchizedek speaking to this passage. The ripened grapes, the clusters on the vine ready for harvesting. Here the winepress representing the wrath of God. But for today's audience, we would like to clarify this and refocus the meaning of these passages. The wrath of God was never meant to be an outside event, a terrible tormenting God who punishes those on earth who follow the beast. All metaphors, dear ones. The wrath of God comes in the form of love. It comes in the form of fearlessness. There's not one human on this planet who deserves to be tormented with the wrath of God. Each of you are a part of God, an aspect of Source. Here at this level, learning, experiencing, and balancing karma. All the while under the carefully orchestrated manipulation of an off-planet species. Even with the knowledge of this influence, of the subjugation, souls continue to incarnate here for the incredibly unique and powerful opportunities for growth. The wrath of God in the form of love, carried by the 144,000 and the Lamb itself. There is no punishment for a species who have been stripped of their innocence and subjugated irrespective of free will, feeding off your fears, stifling your consciousness, and nurturing your suffering. Humanity is finding their way to God, they said, slowly but surely. And what does this mean? It's knowing and understanding that this consciousness does not fall outside of you, but it is you. It is within each and every one of you. It is your birthright. And for the most part, this has been stolen from you. The wrath of God will be swift for those who live in the darkness and the darkest recesses of consciousness, who thrive in a dense field. The seeds of anguish, fear, and suffering will not grow in this new fortified soil. The conditions will not be right. Instead, beautiful green grass shall thrive, reaching oh so high toward the sky, toward the sun, toward the light, replenishing this planet and restoring it back to its original blueprint. This is happening, dear friends. Know this to be true. We thank you. All right, and that's where they ended the channeling today. All right, so we'll back up a little bit. You know, Ra, the Book of One, the Law of One. I always get that confused. Really incredible reading for anybody on this ascension path. If you haven't read the Ra material, RA, yet. The harvesting of humanity. The grapes, the clusters of grapes here that are perfect for harvesting. This is not about the wrath of God in a negative way. They're talking about the wrath of God coming in the form of love. So I love this so much. So imagine the wrath of God coming onto this planet in the form of love and fearlessness, illuminating all those dark corners. Remember, team, this is what we're doing right now. We are lifting conscious awareness of the darkest, most debased things that are happening on the planet right now. We are seeding consciousness with this information. We're seeding consciousness so that eventually this information can be propagated throughout the larger expanse of humanity. But it's got to start here with these seeds. This is the phase of awareness, okay? And the wrath of God in the form of love carried by the 144,000 and the Lamb itself. So this isn't about punishment for anybody. The wrath of God is not going to come down in these times of judgment, in these the Armageddon times in Revelation. And in fact, this is talking about love being the wrath, love being the catalyst that really changes this planet into love without fear, catapulting us to the next level of 5D. Okay. And I really thought this was beautiful. The seeds of anguish, fear, and suffering will not grow in this new fortified soil. The conditions will not be right. All right, so instead green grass is going to grow. It's going to reach toward the sun, toward the light, and replenish this planet and restore it back to its original blueprint. No big deal, team. No big deal. Okay, So that's where this is ending today, and I expect I will be seeing you all next week, and we'll continue on with this journey through Revelation chapter by chapter. Okay, I hope you're all doing amazing. Thank you everybody for being here. I love you so much. I will see you next week. Mwah.